This is the account of 15 of them, crops bred for small spaces, forgotten by modern agriculture, and still viable today. Number 15. Good King Henry. Bleedum bonus henricus. Good King Henry was a perennial green staple across medieval Europe. It declined sharply after spinach became commercialized in the 18th century. Spinach required annual replanting. Good King Henry did not. It grows as a compact clump reaching 12 to 18 inches in height. The plant tolerates partial shade and thrives in containers at least 8 inches deep. It requires moderate water and rich, well-drained soil. Once established, it produces edible shoots in spring and leaves throughout the growing season for up to 10 years without replanting. Young shoots are prepared like asparagus. Leaves are cooked as spinach. The plant was valued in cottage gardens because it occupied minimal space and required no annual labor. Number 14. Skirret. Sium cicerum. Skirret was cultivated extensively in Europe and Asia until the 17th century. It fell from use as potatoes spread across Europe, offering higher yields per plant. Skirret's roots are smaller and require more careful harvest, which made it less competitive in commercial agriculture. The plant forms a compact rosette of foliage. Roots develop in bundles beneath a central crown. It grows well in containers 12 inches deep and tolerates both full sun and partial shade. Skirret requires consistently moist soil and cool temperatures. It is perennial in temperate climates. Roots are harvested in autumn after frost improves their sweetness. They are boiled, roasted, or added to stews. Historical records describe the flavor as sweet and nutty, similar to parsnip, but more delicate. Number 13. Mâche. Valerianella locusta. Mâche, also called corn salad or lamb's lettuce, was a cold season green across Europe for centuries. It lost ground to faster-growing lettuces bred for mechanical harvesting. Mâche grows slowly by comparison, but it tolerates frost and thrives in conditions that kill most salad crops. The plant forms low rosettes 4 to 6 inches across. It grows successfully in containers 12 inches deep and window boxes and intercropped between other plants. Mâche requires minimal water, tolerates poor soil, and grows in full sun or partial shade. It can be sown in autumn and harvested through winter in mild climates. Leaves are eaten fresh in salads. The flavor is mild and slightly nutty. Mâche was valued historically because it provided fresh greens when no other salad crops would grow. Number 12. Sea beet. Beta vulgaris subspecies maritima. Sea beet is the wild ancestor of all cultivated beets, chard, and sugar beets. It grows naturally along coastal European coastlines. It was foraged and cultivated in coastal communities, but declined as domesticated beet varieties became standardized. Sea beet produces smaller leaves than modern chard, which made it less attractive to commercial growers. It is a hardy perennial that tolerates salt spray, wind, poor soil, and drought. Sea beet grows well in containers and requires full sun. It produces leaves continuously from spring through autumn. In mild climates, it remains productive year-round. Leaves are cooked like spinach or chard. They have a stronger, slightly mineral flavor compared to domesticated varieties. Coastal communities historically valued sea beet for its resilience and minimal care requirements. Number 11. Perpetual Spinach. Beta vulgaris var. Cicla. Perpetual spinach, a form of leaf beet, was widely grown in European kitchen gardens. It declined as annual spinach varieties became dominant in seed catalogs. True spinach bolts quickly in heat. Perpetual spinach does not. It produces leaves continuously for months and tolerates heat better than spinach. The plant grows as a compact clump, typically 12 to 18 inches tall. It thrives in containers at least 10 inches deep, tolerates partial shade, prefers well-drained soil, and requires moderate watering. It is technically biennial but grown as an annual in most climates. Leaves are harvested continuously by removing outer leaves. They are cooked as spinach or chard. The flavor is milder than true spinach. Kitchen gardeners valued it because a few plants provided steady greens without succession planting. Number 10. Chaya, Cytoscolus aconitiifolius. Chaya, also called tree spinach, is a perennial shrub native to Mexico and Central America. It was a staple green in Mayan cuisine. Colonial powers favored annual crops that fit plantation models, and chaya remained regionally confined. It produces large quantities of nutrient-dense leaves with minimal inputs, but it never entered global agriculture. Chaya grows as a woody shrub, reaching 6 to 8 feet in open ground, but easily maintained at 3 to 4 feet in containers through pruning. It requires full sun, well-drained soil, and moderate water. The plant tolerates heat and drought once established. Frost kills it, so it is grown as a perennial only in tropical and subtropical climates. Leaves must be cooked before consumption to neutralize toxic compounds. They are boiled or steamed for at least 5 minutes and used in soups, stews, or sautés. Chaya was valued for producing abundant greens year-round with almost no maintenance. Number 9. Egyptian walking onion, Allium proliferum. Egyptian walking onion is a hybrid perennial onion that forms bulbils at the top of its flower stalks instead of seeds. The weight of these bulbils causes stalks to bend and root nearby, allowing the plant to walk across a garden over time. It was cultivated in Europe and North America, but declined as growers prioritized uniform annual onion varieties for market sale. The plant grows in clumps, reaching 18 to 24 inches in height. It thrives in containers at least 8 inches deep. Egyptian walking onions tolerate full sun or partial shade and prefer well-drained soil. They require minimal water and are winter hardy in most temperate climates. Both the underground bulbs and aerial bulbils are edible. They are used like scallions or small onions. The hollow greens are harvested continuously. Small space gardeners valued this onion because it required no replanting and produced year after year. Number 8. Orach, Atriplex hortensis. Orach, also called mountain spinach, was a common pot herb in Europe before spinach became dominant. Spinach surpassed it because spinach leaves are more tender. Orach leaves are slightly coarser, but the plant tolerates heat and poor soil far better than spinach. Orach grows upright, reaching 3 to 6 feet in height depending on variety. Dwarf varieties remain under 3 feet and grow well in containers 12 inches deep. The plant tolerates full sun or partial shade, thrives in poor or salty soils, and requires minimal water. It is an annual that reseeds readily. Leaves are harvested young and cooked like spinach. Red and golden varieties exist and add color to dishes. Orach was valued in subsistence gardens because it produced abundantly in conditions where spinach would fail. Number 7. Yardlong bean, Vigna ungulata subspecies sesquipedalis. Yardlong bean, also called asparagus bean or Chinese long bean, is a vigorous climbing bean native to Southeast Asia. It produces thin pods up to 3 feet long. It was never widely adopted in Western agriculture because standard green beans harvest more easily by machine. Yardlong beans require hand-picking and vertical support. The plant is a tropical perennial grown as an annual in temperate climates. It climbs vigorously and requires a trellis, pole, or vertical support at least 6 feet tall. Yardlong beans grow well in large containers, require full sun, warm temperatures, and consistent moisture. They tolerate heat better than common green beans. Pods are harvested young before seeds fully develop. They are stir-fried, steamed, or added to curries. The texture is crisp and the flavor is similar to green beans but slightly milder. Vertical growth made yardlong beans ideal for small gardens with limited ground space. Number 6. Caucasian spinach, Hablet Z. tamnoides. Caucasian spinach is a perennial climbing vine native to the Caucasus Mountains. It was cultivated in Russia and Scandinavia, but remained obscure elsewhere. It produces edible shoots and leaves in early spring when few other vegetables are available. The plant's climbing habit and perennial nature made it unsuitable for mechanized farming. Caucasian spinach climbs by twining and can reach 6 to 10 feet in a season. It grows well on trellises or fences in containers at least 12 inches deep. The plant prefers partial shade, cool temperatures, and moist, rich soil. It dies back in winter and reemerges each spring. It is fully cold hardy. Young shoots and leaves are harvested in spring and early summer. They are eaten raw in salads or cooked like spinach. The flavor is mild and slightly sweet. Gardeners valued it for producing the first fresh greens of the season without replanting. Number 5. Cardoon. Sonara cardunculus. Cardoon is a close relative of the globe artichoke, native to the Mediterranean. It was cultivated across southern Europe for its edible leaf stalks. As agriculture industrialized, artichokes became the preferred crop because their flower buds commanded higher market prices. Cardoon requires blanching and careful preparation, which made it less commercially viable. The plant is a large perennial, typically reaching 4 to 5 feet in height and width. In small spaces, it is grown as an annual in large containers at least 18 inches deep. Cardoon requires full sun, well-drained soil, and moderate water. It tolerates heat and drought once established. Leaf stalks are blanched by wrapping them in late autumn, then harvested after 2 to 3 weeks. The stalks are peeled, boiled, and eaten as a vegetable or added to stews. Cardoon was valued in Mediterranean gardens for producing food from a single long-lived plant. Number 4. New Zealand spinach, Tetragonia tetragonioides. New Zealand spinach is not a true spinach, but a low-growing, heat-tolerant green native to coastal areas of New Zealand, Australia, and East Asia. It was introduced to Europe in the 18th century by Captain Cook's expedition. It declined as hybrid spinach varieties were developed for cooler climates and mechanical harvest. New Zealand spinach sprawls rather than growing upright, which made it difficult to harvest commercially. The plant spreads as a ground cover, reaching 6 to 12 inches in height and spreading 2 to 3 feet. It grows well in containers, hanging baskets, and window boxes. New Zealand spinach tolerates heat, drought, poor soil, and coastal conditions. It requires full sun and minimal water once established. Leaves and young stems are harvested continuously throughout summer. They are cooked like spinach. The flavor is mild and slightly salty. Gardeners valued it because it produced greens through heat and drought when true spinach would bolt and die. Number 3. Chicory Greens, Sicorium intybus. Chicory has been cultivated for thousands of years across Europe, the Mediterranean, and Asia. Its roots were roasted as a coffee substitute, and its leaves were eaten as bitter greens. Modern agriculture shifted to milder salad greens, and chicory persisted only in specialty markets. Its strong, bitter flavor became unpopular as tastes shifted towards sweeter vegetables. Chicory grows as a rosette of leaves in its first year, then sends up a flowering stalk in the second year. It grows well in containers at least 10 inches deep. Chicory tolerates full sun or partial shade, poor soil, and drought. It is a hardy perennial that reseeds readily. Leaves are harvested young for salads or cooked to reduce bitterness. Forced chicory, grown in darkness, produces pale, mild shoots called chickons or Belgian endive. Roots are roasted, ground, and used as a coffee additive or substitute. Chicory was valued for thriving in marginal soils and requiring no care. Number 2. Salsify, Tragopogon porifolius. Salsify, also called oyster plant, is a root vegetable native to the Mediterranean. It was widely cultivated in Europe and North America through the 19th century. It declined as faster maturing root crops like carrots and parsnips became preferred by commercial growers. Salsify requires a long growing season and careful harvest to avoid breaking its taproot. The plant grows as a rosette of grass-like leaves. The taproot develops slowly over 4 to 5 months. Salsify grows well in deep containers at least 12 inches deep. It prefers full sun, loose soil, and consistent moisture. It is biennial, producing roots in the first year and flowers in the second year. Roots are harvested in autumn or early winter after frost improves their flavor. They are peeled, boiled, roasted, or added to soups. The flavor is delicate and slightly sweet, with a texture similar to parsnip. Salsify was valued for storing well and providing fresh vegetables through winter. Number 1. Celtuce, Latuca, sativa, var, and gastana. Celtuce, also called stem lettuce or asparagus lettuce, is a variety of lettuce cultivated for its thick edible stem rather than its leaves. It originated in China and was grown across East Asia for centuries. It never gained traction in Western agriculture because standard lettuce varieties were bred for leaves and Celtuce required different harvesting and preparation methods. The plant grows upright, forming a thick central stem that reaches 12 to 18 inches in height. Celtuce grows well in containers at least 10 inches deep. It prefers full sun, cool to moderate temperatures, and consistent moisture. It is an annual that matures in approximately 70 days. The stem is harvested when it reaches 1 inch in diameter. The outer skin is peeled away, and the inner stem is sliced and eaten raw, pickled, stir-fried, or added to soups. The flavor is mild, crisp, and slightly nutty. Celtuce was valued in small gardens because a single plant provided both greens and a substantial vegetable stem. These 15 vegetables were not abandoned because they failed. They were abandoned because they didn't fit. They required hand harvest. They climbed when machines needed rows. They perennialized when markets demanded annuals. They thrived in shade, poor soil, and neglect, which made them irrelevant to industrial agriculture. But they solved a problem that existed long before industrial agriculture: how to produce food in limited space with minimal inputs. They still solve that problem. In containers, on balconies, in courtyards, and on windowsills, these crops perform exactly as they were selected to perform over centuries of cultivation. They don't require belief or advocacy. They require soil, water, and time. The knowledge of how to grow them was never lost. It was simply set aside. It remains accessible to anyone with a pot and a seed.